Hey yo, what's good YouTube? Today is July 13th, 2018, and we're doing a mini Surrender at 20 or League of Legends news recap just to make sure we're up to date with all the latest information regarding things inside and outside the game of League. So just some quick things to look over. Dark Star Cho'Gath, just a new skin coming out, or that has came out. Nothing to say there. So this article or update has a lot of things in it, but I'm only going to be looking at the quick gameplay thoughts because I'm not really interested in other things because they're not exactly part of the game. I mean, you can say that sound effects is part of the game, but I mean, like, in terms of understanding and improving at the game, I don't think I need to know much about the sound effects. So anyways, so quick gameplay thoughts, July 13th. So these are just things we're talking about. It's not going to be 100% guaranteed to be implemented in the game, so keep that in mind. Gold funneling questions. So why nerf funneling? Yeah, so we spoke about this yesterday. If you want to hear more about it, then definitely check out the July 12th patch, either on my channel or you can just go and start it at 20 and read it yourself if you want more detailed information. But basically, gold funneling is a strat that's pretty outrageous in the sense that it makes the game pretty boring and not very interactive. So for example, mid lane is just, in the case of gold funneling, a situation that would happen would be a Taric mid lane that lines up all the CS for his jungler to come and clear, and basically it's a two support type game, and you invest more gold into one player, and it kind of just breaks the game a bit. So they're looking for ways to stop that. Not very much to say about that because same thing as yesterday. Alright, so this is some exciting stuff here. Some 8.15 changes. Annie buffs, Leandri's buff. Yeah, not a lot of people build Leandri's. Gold funneling. Oh, they're looking. Yeah, I heard about TP nerfs. So apparently TP has way too much impact. So they're looking for ways to nerf it. I think in one post they said they're gonna be nerfing the either the amount of time it takes to teleport, like to complete the process of a teleport, or nerfing the cooldown on the TP by increasing it. They're keeping the playoffs most likely on 8.15 for the pros. So if you don't already know, pros normally have a patch where they are 100% guaranteed to stay on for a certain amount of time, especially if it's close to finals, because if all of a sudden like Worlds or Summers comes around and teams are expected to play their best, you can't just throw a random patch at them and expect them to play their best without having a certain amount of time to practice on that said patch. Tooltips. So if you checked out yesterday's patch notes or update on Sword at 20, then you already know about this. So basically they're looking for ways to just make the tooltips more detailed. So for example, when you look at your skills, your QWER, when you hover over it, you'll see more information than just what's already given. So for example, you can get more information such as bonus damage, cooldown, and or I forgot what else there was, but yeah, things like that. Alright, so here Riot's basically admitting that um, this whole entire season basically felt like a preseason because there's so many patches that um, the game just was constantly changing a lot faster than what it normally did, and they just admitted it here. So Muddler said that he thinks the game has changed way too much or way too fast, not too much, too fast over the last half of the year, and that makes sense. For example, one thing that Reckless and most ADCs touch on is the fact that bot lane has changed way too fast. Change is not bad, but the amount of time given for change to happen is really important. So for example, bot lane used to be marksman dominated. Now it's being dominated by AP mages. Not very much bruisers, but more AP. And that happened over a course of like, I think it was like a month or two maybe. Really fast. So pros and players aren't really having enough time to practice and adapt. So yeah, hopefully they work on that. I'm glad they addressed it though. That's the big part. If they can address it now, just in text, then maybe they'll do something about it. Speaking of mage bot lane, Swain. They're nerfing his R. Not sure. I don't play enough bot lane to speak on this, but I do know that Swain, Vladimir, and champions of the sort are very oppressing bot lane, especially since they're very tanky and do a lot of AP damage. So yeah, this can be pretty helpful for the bot lane meta. So they're considering nerfing Conqueror. So Shinshin actually spoke about this, and he brought up some really good points. But the biggest thing is that I think Conqueror was a keystone built for bruisers, because when Fervor was removed, we were left with PTA and things like Comet, which wasn't really too good on top laners or bruisers. So Conqueror was like, as Shinshin said, a band-aid for that. And now they're nerfing it, so I want to see how that goes. I'm not especially against or with it because I don't think Conqueror is that broken, especially in lane. If you do play top lane, and as a top lane main, Conqueror isn't really a lane keystone. A lot of times things like Grasp really do beat you on lane. Like for example, if you're laning top, even against like a Mundo that builds straight tank, it's really hard to kill him a lot of times early game with the Conqueror, because he can just out tank you and out damage you with Grasp. But I'll leave that for later. This is something that's really gonna be that I'm excited about. So hopefully, Irelia has been a big force in mid and bot lane, mostly mid, not really top lane, because top lane matchups she normally loses 1v1 really hard. So without junglers helping you out, you're in a lot of shit top lane if you don't play safe. So there isn't really much interaction there. So hopefully they can look to buffing her. Yeah, and they are looking into buffing her, which is nice. She is a good champion. If you're good at her, then you're fine, but even at that point, it's really hard to manage 1v1s. And just all in general lane oriented fights, because she just is so bad in lane. Team fight though, she's really good at. Man, Leona used to be so good. Haven't seen her around lately because of the mage meta bot lane. But it's cool that look into her, I guess. Yeah, I heard she's getting a new passive, but I don't think they spoke too much on what the passive was, so I'm not gonna touch that yet. So these are just other things about the game that aren't really part of the gameplay, so I won't speak on them. But yeah, that's it for today's Surrender at 20 or League of Legends news recap. Hopefully it helps keep you guys up to date. And as always, if you want to read this for yourself, then it's always on Surrender at 20. I'm just reading it myself and giving you guys any little opinions or take I have on them. But for sure, if you guys want to check it out, make sure you do check it out. It's a really good website. Thanks for watching. Peace.